If you ever buy one of these used, the things you want to make sure you have and have working, make sure the computer boots up, make sure the Hofmann program is still installed. You can check when it's updated to. I'd imagine most of them are probably going to be updated to 2020. I think that was the last update they came out with for these machines. I think they stopped seeing support right around then, or maybe a little bit before 2020. You want to make sure that you have the charger set up for the heads, because this uses a proprietary plug. I'm sure you could find another barrel plug to work, but that just opens a rabbit hole you don't really want to go down. So you want to make sure you have the charger set up for the heads. You want to make sure you have the Bluetooth antennas and receivers for the Bluetooth system. It's basically just hooks up to a USB. Printer, not printer, doesn't matter. You really don't need a printer to use anything. It is literally just Windows 7. It's a very easy system to operate on. Having the spec disk and stuff might be an advantage, but I don't have any of the spec disks or anything installed on the computer right now. When I put the spec disk in, it tells me the security code for that spec disk is not for this machine. I think because the spec has been updated beyond the spec disk that came with the machine, so the security code no longer matches. The only reason I'm putting this out there is because trying to run into getting this machine, getting it up and running, testing everything out. I've used Hofmann machines before, but not in 20 years. It's been a long time since I've used a Hofmann machine. These days you usually see Hunter machines in most shops. Some Geoliners and stuff is still out there, or some Geoliners are out there. They still make machines. A lot of places do have them. But I couldn't find much information on this thing when I decided to take a chance on it and get it up and running. So I'm just putting some little basic stuff out there. One important thing you're going to want on an older machine like this is a backup of the hard drive. So what I did was I couldn't get the specs to transfer over without burning it to a disk. I wanted everything on one basically image of the system. So what I ended up doing was cloning the hard drive out of the computer to an SSD, and then putting the SSD in the computer for better performance, then cloning the drive and creating a full disk image of the drive out of the computer to a USB restore disk. And then I stored the original drive in the USB restore disk with the alignment machine. So if the SSD ever fails, basically I'll have something to revert back to. I'll have a original image to reinstall, and then restore disk basically, or I'll have a backup hard drive to be able to, the original hard drive to be able to clone to a new drive. I would imagine if you lose this software, it's going to be near impossible to replace, because they don't make the machine anymore, it's not supported anymore, and it's proprietary, so I'm sure Hofmann's not going to want to help you too much with it. Best I can tell from going through the specs and calibration, also, it appears that the software on the computer is locked to a specific set of hardware and machine, basically. So I don't think you can clone a drive from another machine and then use it in a different machine. Somehow it makes it generates its own security keys from the hardware on the machine and the software installed on the machine, and the initial security key from that software to basically lock that software and those specifications onto the machine. Now, if you're doing custom vehicle alignments for your own personal projects, you really don't need the spec list anyway. You can go into custom alignments even if the spec catalog is not working. You can program in your own specs, or you can just see what the car is and make your adjustments to the specs you want for that particular car as you go. It's not really a game killer. All right, I wanted to do a quick timer on this from cold start to logged in. 15 seconds. God, I miss Windows 7. This is a Hofmann Geoliner 550 Prism. I just wanted to cover a couple of things that I ran into in getting this machine up and running for home personal use. On the computer, I had to repaste the CPU. I went ahead and upgraded the RAM to 8 gigabytes, just purely for the fact that it's Windows 7 32-bit. It only recognizes 4, but the 8 gigabyte stick for 2 of a match was like $30 for dual rank memory. So I went from single rank 2 gigabytes to 8 gigabytes of 2 sticks of dual rank memory. It only sees 4 gigabytes or 3.5. I cloned the hard drive to a SSD, which kind of equates for the full boot up time on it. The computer seems to be running great right now. Everything else is running great. The machine looks like it went into service around 2014. It is updated to right about 2020 specs from the looks of things. Yeah, it looks like 2020, which is perfect for my use. If I ever need to do a stereo angle reset, I could do a reset on the scan tool. If anybody's ever trying to get one of these up and running, inside here where the charger plugs in, it's literally 3 18650 batteries in the battery pack. It is a one set pack. You can buy the full battery for $335, which is insane. You can get a 3-pack of the 3-wire 18650s all soldered together and ready to go to just be installed in the pack for probably 20-30 bucks on Amazon. I got lucky and didn't have to replace the batteries. Once I put a charge to them, they charge up just fine and held the charge just fine. I highly recommend. I've had issues with the Bluetooth syncing to the right head. You've got to watch that. There is a diagnostic program in the computer that allows you to switch it over. What I did was write down the Bluetooth address on each head so that if I have to program them to the right side, the left side, or the right side, I already have the address marked on the head so I know which one to select for which side, just to make it easier. Because the Hofmann program doesn't actually tell you, details on the stuff when you do it. I guess it expects a technician to be working it. I did find it easier, just turn the heads on left side first when you set them up on the car, then doing them the other way. A couple of little basic tools to need. Don't really need a steering wheel leveler, but they're cheap enough, and for home use where you're not using an alignment rack that's easier to get up into the car on when you need it. Makes it a little easier just to be able to open the door and see if the steering wheel is level from outside the car. Steering wheel depressor, brake pedal depressor. Usually use 2 of those just for the hell of it. That's the one that gets the most use. Those are just a couple of adjustment tools for trucks. This particular alignment machine is really great for home use on a rack. I am doing this on basically a car lift rack or car storage rack. I bought the biggest one possible, just to make sure if I ever went to an alignment machine, I had, good clearance and room to be able to move the car around or, get the heads to see each other. I like the Geoliner 550 Prism because it doesn't use a top-mounted laser to see the reflectors. It actually uses a laser off of each rear head, and that laser sees the front reflector. It kind of works in itself, which makes it really easy to get clearance in a lower ceiling garage.